Hi there. This is Jo Zuleika, founder of the amazing Facebook group, Women Who Lead with Heart, coming on for my weekly live training. The topic today, this week, is how do you recover from a setback? So I used a quote from the amazing, infamous Michelle Obama, who said, the difference between us and them, between you and success, is not that you never fail, but it's how you recover from those failures. Keep getting up time and time again. And while I love me some Michelle Obama, and I believe that we need to keep getting up time and time again, I feel like there's a missing piece in this, and it's the how. If you feel beaten or broken, or like you failed, or you're struggling, it's one thing to say, fail 9 times, get up 10. But that's sort of like a bypass around actually figuring out how to feel better so that you can get up again. How do you actually recover from a setback so that you do feel like you're strong enough to go back in, to stand back up, to be seen, to give it another go, to possibly fail again, to be vulnerable? So what I'm going to talk about tonight is the how. How do you recover from a setback? What are the techniques? What are the tactics? And this is actually a pretty simple lesson. So hopefully you're in for a treat and this is going to be valuable for you. If you're watching me live, give me some emojis, give me some love. If you're here on the replay, give me a hashtag replay. And I can't wait to hear your comments when you hear this training. Okay, so setbacks. We're talking about my group, Women Who Lead with Heart, we're about women who are out there in the world, whether it's about like parenting our children, being really good friends, or actually, at work in a leadership role, whatever the continuum is. We are women who are putting ourselves out there, and we face vulnerability because we lead with our heart. We have feelings and we're not cleaving that part of ourselves off. I'm never a fan of saying, stuff it down, rub some dirt on it, just be tougher. That is not the way that I believe we're strong. So I'm talking about how women who lead with heart have emotional setbacks. Things like if you get a bad review, if you get feedback that hurts, if you get criticism from your boss or from an employee, or if you have some sort of conflict at work or in your personal life. You can have a setback from things like losing a client or losing a sale, or getting laid off or fired, or not getting into the college that you want. Anything that's just a deep disappointment or feels like an embarrassment, or that your heart was exposed and you're disappointed. It can also happen by getting slammed on social media. These can be very painful setbacks, to feel like you're sort of exposed and you feel hurt. So I'm talking about any type of setback that has you feel like you're failed, or you're losing, or that you're just flailing. You don't feel in control emotionally. You feel sort of like an out-of-body experience of pain and embarrassment and frustration, and it makes you suffer. So are you ready? Here's the lesson, super simple lesson tonight. There is this model in coaching about being above the line and below the line. And the line is the idea of when we are consciously creating our responses versus unconsciously reacting and responding to the stimulus or the pain that we're feeling. So the shorthand that we use is talking about, are you going to come at it from above the line or below the line? So let me just explain those two things really quickly. When you're coming at a conflict or you're responding to a setback below the line, you are coming from a place of sort of like hacking it out, trying to please, wanting to win. And the energy of this below the line reactive space is very much low and grinding and trying and graspy and powerless. Even people who have power and use it to overtake someone else are coming from a powerless place in this below the line area. So if you're on the softer continuum, you might be trying to please. You might be trying to comply and wanting to win favor. You might find yourself wanting to assuage the bad feelings of failure by trying to be popular or friendly, or somehow resurrect some good feeling from the reaction to try to find somebody that helps rescue you. If you're on the more stronger side of the continuum, you could be fighting back and retaliating and being angry and being in high control and feeling forceful. This below the line energy is winning by not losing. It's the idea that you are going to attack back, you are going to be controlling, you are going to be smarter than or more forceful than. And all of this energy, while it can be effective, it can be very effective to some personalities actually getting ahead and winning. It's not what I subscribe to, because it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of energy from you and from the system around you if you're coming from this reactive state, this below the line state. So, another part of this type of below the line there's this really forceful side that I'm describing, but there's also a really passive side where a lot of women, me included, can react to this type of losing energy by folding up and going home, by feeling defeated, by getting really passive, by getting silent, by sort of turtle shelling in, by protecting. So all of these energies, I don't know what might be resonating for you as you're listening to this training. These are called below the line reactive tendencies. The opposite, the thing that you want to be learning from this tonight, is the above the line way of reacting and responding to getting slayed, to having a setback, to feeling emotionally charged. The above the line is called creative. And your creative competencies are where you are glorious and making things happen from a high vibe place, literally from a creative place, a building up of, not a shutting down of. So your creative competencies have the range of collaboration, connecting, teamwork. Lifelong learning is a creative competency. Improving yourself or improving a system, strategizing in a positive way, not a tear down, I'm going to win way. Plowing your energy into mentoring others, building others up, or your community. These are all creative energies. One thing that resonates so high with me is something called purposeful vision, where you think, what's the long view? Like, what am I really trying to achieve? What's the big overarching idea of this topic or even my life? What's my purposeful vision? And courageous authenticity. So instead of like packing up, rolling up, turtle shelling in, covering and trying to protect from feeling vulnerable, the idea, the opposite would be courageously authentic and speak your mind from not a reactive place, but a creative place. Where you hope to go? What do you want to rise above towards? So that's the really quick lesson. Above the line is creative, below the line is reactive. We can't wish that there won't be setbacks. When we put ourselves out there in life, when we have relationships, when we bump into other people, when we have passion and care, we're going to be triggered. We're going to run into things that feel like setbacks, emotionally, professionally, socially. So what we can do is choose how we want to react and respond. If you come from that creative place, you'll find that you're less tense. You're less solo, you're less sort of like on your own, either turtle shelling in or hacking away or trying to win. And it has more of a rise above energy to it. It feels more uplifting, more inspiring, more empowering. It's less negative. It's definitely a positive way of being, and it has so much more hope and so much more like enlisting energy towards the future rather than sort of grinding it out, fighting it out, duking it out in the present and the past. So that's my short lesson for you tonight, and I'd love to hear you in the comments below. Tell me, how do you deal with a setback? And can you put yourself in that mind frame of how you might reach into your creative to sort of like ladder yourself up and out of the really negative response that happens when you feel triggered, when you're in conflict? Can you see how that might work for you? If you're curious, this is actually all the result of a really cool leadership inventory that I've learned how to facilitate. It's a multi-rater inventory that tells you exactly where your reactive and creative strengths are, where you tend to retreat, and where you're best when you are up above in that creative zone. And when you get a report like that, it actually spells out for you an easier way for being in business, as a partner, as a friend, in life. So if that sounds like it's something cool to you, you can reach out to me, PM me. I can explain how this multi-rater tool is used and how I coach around it. It helps you find your calm, capable leadership presence with deep self-awareness and totally enabled to find the tools to manage yourself and manage any challenging situation, so that you're less stressed and you're less overwhelmed and you're more confident and you're coming like from a place of solid self-knowing and self-control and not just reacting and responding like a triggered amoeba. So that's what I've got for you. Stay above the line, stay creative, and go well.